40 meters, that's all that separated Daniel Morgan from the forest. 40 meters of open air between his balcony and a wall of trees so dense, so dark at night that you couldn't see 2 feet into them. And yet, something in there could see him. A stone flew out of that darkness and landed right between his feet. Then another, and then his father woke up at 4 in the morning to find a young girl standing at his bedroom door, a girl no one in the family had ever seen. The village of Raven Hollow finally had to tell them what had happened on that land. If unexplained encounters and stories that sit right on the edge of reality send a chill down your spine, you are exactly in the right place. Hit that subscribe button right now because we bring you true accounts that most people would never dare to tell. Like this video, drop a comment telling me, do you believe places can hold on to the past? Now, let's go to Devon. There is a part of southwest England that tourists pass through mostly by accident. Rolling green hills, narrow country lanes, villages with names that sound like they belong in a fairy tale. Devon is that kind of place. And nested somewhere quietly in its countryside is a small settlement called Raven Hollow. The name alone should tell you something. Daniel Morgan grew up knowing Raven Hollow the way children know the streets outside their windows, without thinking too much about what might lie beneath the surface. But life took him away for it for a while. University in Exeter, a social circle, late nights, online gaming. His friend pulled him into multiplayer games. What began as casual entertainment became genuine obsession. He lived for those evenings, headset on, the world outside gone, nothing existing except the screen and the voices of his teammates. When family circumstances brought him back to Raven Hollow after graduating, he wasn't thinking about the forest. He was thinking about his gaming schedule. The new house his father had built was modern and well constructed, but the mobile signal inside nearly useless. The internet barely functional. After testing every corner of that house, Daniel found exactly one spot where the connection held steady enough to play. The upper balcony, facing the trees, 40 meters from the tree line. He told himself it was fine. During the day, the forest was genuinely beautiful. Birdsong, shifting light through the canopy, the kind of scenery people drive hours to photograph. He set up his phone out there in the evenings and played his games as the sky darkened and the trees became silhouettes. But here is what you need to understand before we go any further. What was happening in Raven Hollow? It didn't start in Raven Hollow. It started years earlier in Exeter, in an ordinary rented apartment on an ordinary evening when Daniel fell asleep on the sofa. He suddenly woke. The TV was still on, casting pale blue light across the room, and in the hallway, moving slowly between his mother's bedroom and the bathroom, was a shadow. Dark, distinctly shaped, moving with purpose. He blinked hard. Gone. He turned his head slightly to the left. It was standing in the corner of the living room, still, patient, as though it had been there for some time. 4 seconds, 5, then nothing. Daniel laid completely rigid on that sofa, heart hammering, telling himself it was the light from the television. Shadows played tricks. He was half asleep. There was a rational explanation. He didn't tell his mother, but a few nights later, the sound started. Late, when the building was supposed to be quiet, slow, deliberate tapping from the ceiling above his bedroom, rhythmic, like someone walking with a wooden cane, heel to floor, measured and unhurried. It wasn't the kind of noise a building makes when it settles. Buildings don't pace. It went on for several nights before he finally said something to his mom. She paused when he described it, then admitted she'd heard it too. They agreed it was probably old pipes or neighbours upstairs with old habits, and they moved on. Life as it does continued. Daniel started university. He met Emma. He was happy. The strange evenings in that Exeter apartment faded into the category of things you chalk up to stress and youth. Then came the night. After a small argument with Emma, he'd gone to bed without making things right between them, which left a particular kind of restlessness in his chest. He finally fell asleep, woke at 1:25 in the morning. He remembers the time exactly. His throat dry as a paper. He reached for his water bottle, took a long drink, and in the silence of doing something so ordinary, he became aware of something extraordinary. The room was getting colder. Not gradually the way a room cools when a window is open, dropping noticeably, like something was drawing warmth out of the air. And beneath his bedroom door, a faint white light, thin and pale, moving slightly as though something carrying it was shifting its weight on the other side. The door handle didn't move, but the door trembled. Daniel did what most of us would do when the rational mind shuts down completely. He pulled the blanket over his face. He closed his eyes. He laid absolutely still and told himself, prayed really, that it would stop. It didn't stop. Footsteps, soft, deliberate, crossing the floor towards his bed, close enough that he could sense the presence beneath him. And then a hand brushing slowly across his pillow just above his head. He screamed for his mother. She came running. She howled him. She said what parents say: stress, horror, films, overactive imagination, too much late night gaming. She wasn't dismissing him cruelly. She genuinely wanted there to be a simple answer. But the incidents multiplied. Utensils clattered in the kitchen at hours when no one was in. Knocks at the front door, firm and insistent, with no one standing outside. The sound of running footsteps on the floor. Not an animal scurry, determined back and forth. And in his dreams, a woman began to appear, wearing his mother's face and choking him. When his father retired from the British Army and completely constructive of a new family home in Raven Hollow, the decision to leave Exeter felt like a relief. A fresh start, a modern house, clean walls and no history, except, and Daniel only registered this gradually, the new house sat 30 to 40 meters from a dense forest. And somewhere deep in that forest, half hidden by trees and time, was an old cemetery. The house hadn't been formally blessed. For a short while, things were quiet. The family settled in. Daniel found his balcony signal spot and resumed his evening's gaming sessions. Life began to look normal. And then the footsteps returned to the roof. Heavy, running, at night when the house was otherwise completely still. They brought a local priest. The blessing brought a few days of silence. And then it started again. And Daniel, out of that balcony every night, began to feel it, the sensation of being watched, not imagined, not paranoid, watched. From the tree line, something at the edge of the forest, in the dark where the light couldn't reach, observing him with the patience of something that had nowhere else to be. One evening around 7:30, he was pacing the balcony talking to Emma on the phone when he heard it. A sharp crack, and a stone flew out from beneath the trees and landed on the balcony floor, right behind his heels. He spun around, silence, trees. He almost convinced himself it was kids, maybe someone cutting through the woods playing a prank. He didn't mention it to his family. 2 days later, it happened again. 2 stones this time, landing near him in quick succession. This was no prank. That night, he began sleeping with the dim light on. He began keeping Emma on the phone longer than usual, not because he admitted to her what was happening, but because the sound of another voice was the only thing that made the dark feel smaller. Then came the night the sound followed him inside. He was on the phone with Emma, sitting on the edge of his bed, and he heard it clearly, a soft, rhythmic jingling, like anklets on bare feet, moving from inside his bedroom towards the kitchen. then fading as though heading towards the forest, and then after a long silence, returning closer, coming towards his bedroom. He turned on every light in the room, sat with his back against the headboard until morning came. At breakfast, his father looked like he hadn't slept either, and Daniel asked why. His father told him what had woken him at 4 in the morning. He'd opened his eyes to find a young girl standing just outside his bedroom door, young, still, watching him and calling his name in a voice he didn't recognize. The family stopped trying to rationalize. They made inquiries in the village, spoke to long-time residents, and slowly the history of that land came to light. Years before the Morgan family arrived, a mother and her daughter had lived near that forested area. The daughter had died in a violent incident. The details were not shared freely, only that it had been sudden and terrible. The mother, devastated beyond recovery, had eventually ended her own life somewhere near the trees. The villagers spoke about it the way people speak about things that are old and heavy and true, quietly, without drama. A local priest visited the family again. This time he told them something different from the usual reassurances. He said the spirits attached to that land were not malicious. They were not trying to harm anyone. They were simply present. Grieving, perhaps. Unwilling to leave a place that still felt like home. Prayers were conducted, pacific, intentional, extended, and gradually the activities eased. The footsteps on the roof stopped, the stones stopped flying from the forest, the kitchen went quiet at night, the dreams about the woman with his mother's face did not return. Daniel and his family still lived in that house today. There's something this story asks us to sit with long after it ends. Not every haunting is about malice, not every presence is a threat. Sometimes what lingers is simply love that didn't know where to go. Grief that outlasted the body carrying it. The Morgan family's experience in Raven Hollow wasn't a horror story in the end. It was something quieter and stranger than that. A reminder that some places hold memories, and that the line between the world we see and the one we don't is thinner than we spend most of our lives pretending it is. If Raven Hollow stayed with you, if that image of the forest at night, the stones, the girl at the doorway is sitting somewhere in the back of your mind right now, then you know exactly what we do. Subscribe to Crimeflux for more true accounts that walk that edge between explanation and the unexplained. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a reason to sleep with the lights on tonight, and tell me in the comments, do you believe some places never let go of the people who love them? I'll be reading every single one.